Good afternoon. It's good to see everyone again. My name is Candace Newman. For those of you who don't know, I'm the CEO and founder of Live Out Live and Live Out Live Foundation, and I am excited about our guest today. Um, our guest is a singer and songwriter, Cocoa Sarai. Let's see, I'm not sure if they've joined us yet.
There's somebody, C.E. Ali, Segi Ali, Live Out Live.
Yes, that's Shahi from my team,
Oh,
but
Shay.
someone else is going to be joining us as well. Yeah,
Okay.
very shortly. But until they join, I'll share a little bit more about Live Out Live and Live Out Live Foundation and give them a moment to join us. But a little bit more about us is that we provide access and resources for underrepresented or underserved youth in the live music industry, really in the music industry overall. But we started as a pathways and workforce development organization in the live music industry, giving access and resources and job shadowing opportunities and just pathway resources overall, mentorship, internship opportunities to youth who aspire to work in the music industry, but specifically the live music industry. So that is what Live Out Live is inspired by. It's inspired by my journey. I am a live music industry producer and talent buyer and booker and tour router. So former Live Nation executive. And so that's my background. And then that is what again inspired me to create Live Out Live and Live Out Live Foundation. So that's a little bit more about the organization. You guys can click on the links in the chat if you're curious to do a deeper dive on our website and some of our social media. But let me check to see if, give me one quick second. Let me see if our guest is having some tech issues because we were just connected just shortly.
What's your website, Live Out Live?
It's right there in the chat. Yes, liveoutlive.com.
Oh, there it is. Okay. I was only seeing a few of them at the moment. Who's going to lead the didgeridoo revolution? Who said that? Alex? That's funny. I'm just now seeing the chats, you guys. For some reason, it wasn't showing me. That's funny.
I just shot her a quick text. Maybe she's having some tech issues, but just give it a quick beat. Really appreciate you guys' patience. It will be worth it, I promise.
So, do you have any shows that are coming up that they could see or?
I would say for the most part, our season for some of the shows that I've been working on has ended, but they vary. Like I've worked on different festivals like I worked in different facets of the live music industry, so experiential production, for example. I've worked with the Essence Festival on helping them bring some of their ideations to life, as well as other festivals that are new and up and coming that are much more smaller, that aren't Coachella, right? That a
Right.
lot of emerging artists and talent just ideate and want to create independently, and they don't have the resources. I kind of help them execute that on a high level,
So,
or
could any of these
provide
guys
them
reach out?
operational support.
I'm
I'm
sorry.
sorry.
Can any of these guys reach out to you to ask for what it's like to or advice on maybe some live performance?
Of course they can. Absolutely.
Yeah, if you guys
Absolutely.
have any
Yes.
questions for her while we're waiting, that might be a nice thing. Because live playing out live and getting gigs is hard.
Absolutely. Yeah, that's why it's so important for us to share this information because It's just not an accessible industry. It's not one that's just right there at your fingertips, and it's not one that's kind of really advertised and talked about a lot. So I'm here to kind of share the wealth about the live music industry and how cool it is to work in the industry and how rewarding it is to be a part of bringing events and live shows to life, especially with my peers, right? A lot of it is just me helping up and coming artists, and my peers have a career, a tour history, or market value in the live music space. So it's just a really great opportunity. Yes, let me get some questions, Denver.
Hi, so I just wanted to ask you maybe a quick question, but it's so funny that a lot of times a live performance can actually make or break an artist. They may have great studio work, but we see them perform and then, it might be a little different. I'm just wondering what excites you working in this particular sector and like working with new artists and like if there's anything specific that you see on the stage that just really makes you feel like, oh, I love this artist or oh, I love the work that I do.
It's part of what you described. Like life just happens, right? It happens once. It's magical. It's a moment. And so we all get to experience that magical moment together along with the artist, right? And we're trusting that the artist is going to allow us to immerse ourselves in that experience. And so that's what is so amazing about working in the live music industry is being a part of that, bringing that to life. Knowing that it's gonna be some hitches, right? Because there always is. But you guys, as the fans or the audience, typically don't get to see those hitches, and then all you get to see is the finished product. And it seems like all the magic happened behind the scenes, but a lot of magical things were happening behind the scenes, and a lot of really tough things were happening behind the scenes. And so that's what's rewarding about being in the industry. And just like I said, being able to help an artist create their market value and their history in the live music space. The live music is one of the most lucrative, long-standing spaces or sectors in the music industry. Like you can obviously be signed to labels and, stream your music and do all of the things. But when you perform live, one, it's rewarding because you get to touch your audience and your community. You get to build your community, but also you get paid right away, right? As soon as you perform, you get off stage, the promoter, the booker pays your other half of your guarantee or your fee. So there's so many other rewarding aspects other than getting paid right away. Like I said, connecting with the audience, building your community, um, sharing that space with your audience. It's a lot of things. I'm not an artist, but I'm just kind of relaying why it's rewarding to me to see the artist experience this. So, yeah. But yeah, I think our guest has joined us, and I'm happy to always answer all of you guys' questions as we continue to move on with this conversation. But I want to honor our guest's time as well. Thank you, Coco, for joining us. We're going to dive right in. I do have some questions for you, but I want to give you an opportunity to introduce yourself to the room. So I'll take a beat and go ahead and give you a moment to do that.
Hey everybody, what's up? I'm like, forgive my tardiness. I'm figuring out how to connect my Osmo to my computer to get a clearer picture for you guys, and it's my first time doing it, so I've been tinkering with it all day. So I don't know which way to look. Oh Lord, oh Lord. Now let's put this
Well,
on.
you look great. It's a very clear picture.
Okay, good. Let me put this on airplane mode and get this right up out of here, so it doesn't interrupt us while we're talking. So, hi, what's up, y'all? I'm Cocoa Sarai. I'm a singer, songwriter, engineer, and any other thing that I have to be from Brooklyn, New York, but I'm based in Los Angeles now. And I've released 6 albums independently, maybe 3 EPs, performed at Coachella and featured on Dr. Dre and Snoop Dogg's upcoming projects. Well, their projects that are out, Missionary and Anderson .Paak and Busta Rhymes and so many other things. And I've also written across multiple genres from R&B to hip hop to pop to K-pop to like everything. And I love helping artists find their voice. So here I am. I run my own brand and production company, and I'm really passionate about passing everything that I learned on because it has not been easy. And having some knowledge really helps us all. So what's up, y'all?
Thank you for being here. Let's show her some love and appreciation for being here, you guys. All right. So I'm just gonna kick it off with some rapid fire warm-up questions, right? Just really quickly, just instinctually answer them.
Hmm.
Okay. And pick just one answer. And this is just going to get the students or the audience a moment just to quickly get to know you before we jump into some questions. But I also want to encourage everyone here to drop some questions as we have this conversation into the chat that we can ask Coco nearing the end or even throughout the conversation. All right. So rapid fire questions. Here we go. Melody or lyrics?
Melody.
Hook first or verse first?
Oh, verse. It should be hook, but for me, it's usually verse.
Write in silence or with a loop playing?
Both. Sometimes I'm sorry, you want me to just answer? Yeah, okay.
Answer instinctually.
Yes, so both. A loop playing for sometimes for me to just get it going, and then sometimes that loop gets distracting and I have to cut it off because it's flowing in my head and it's influencing the words and the melody choices. So sometimes I gotta like, I got the melody down, now I need to get those words down without the loop playing, like turn it off.
Okay. Metaphors or plain spoken lines?
Depends on if we're talking about the hook or the verse.
Okay.
Yeah.
That's if that's your answer, okay. We'll have a moment to elaborate on some of these things,
Mhm.
but I just wanted to just get some instinctual answers from you. Solo
Mhm.
write or co-write?
Oh, co-writes.
Morning sessions or late night sessions?
Afternoon. Afternoon. I don't want to be in there too late or too early if I can help it. So good between 12 and 2 is nice.
Okay. Keep a demo raw or polished before sharing?
It depends on who I'm sharing it with. So for most people, polished. If it's raw, it's gonna be me and like two other people.
Okay. Last one. Write for self or write to brief?
Depends on what I'm working on. It depends on what I'm working on. I love writing for self always. But writing to a brief sometimes triggers a creativity that's a little different, especially when it's for a TV film, another artist, whatever. So yeah.
Okay. Well, thank you so much for sharing your rapid fire answers. We'll jump right into this question. How did you find your voice as a writer and what shaped it early on?
So I grew up in a musical family, and I grew up in church, so everybody in my family could play an instrument or sing or, something. So at first, I guess developing my voice started in church because three people in church can sing the same song, but we all sing it differently. We all bring something different to it. And so it's almost like I was trained to make a song my own. And I never was really good at mimicking. I was never good at mimicking. My voice I just wasn't really good at that. So making a song my own was kind of what I had to do early on. I I'm trying to think of another. Yeah, I think that's what that is. And and of course, by the time it was more like imitating a feeling. My favorite singers is Tina Turner and Amy Winehouse. Well, no, Tina Turner, Mary J. Blige, Whitney Houston, stuff like that, and Lauryn Hill. So by the time I started writing, it was like poetry and stuff like that. And then I went into songwriting. And that's when I felt like my personal voice for my writing really showed up, but my singing voice showed up at like really early on because I was singing in church and leading in the choir at like 5, you know. So yeah.
That's cool. So when you hear beat or chord progression, what do you listen for?
Emotion. What energy I feel from it like right away, like what is it trying to say to me before the words come in? Like there's something that I was taught by a mentor of mine. He said, which is funny because he said this to me recently. He was like, songs either have on Tims or stilettos. And I like laughed about it because I'm like, Sometimes the song is wearing a frock. Sometimes the song is wearing a Tomb Raider costume. Sometimes, it depends what based on where I'm at. Sometimes it just depends on the energy of the emotion in it that I feel once I hear it. And so I'll hum melodies and see where my body and brain naturally takes me. And then that tells me where to go. But I freestyle as soon as the beat comes on. I like to hear it, not like listen to it once through. Like soon as it comes on, whatever comes naturally, I put on my voice memo and I go. And sometimes the lyrics come after, and sometimes they come during that freestyle. And that's the way I do it.
Yeah, so you said you do engineering, production, writing, singing, all of the things. So this week's lesson is surrounding listening like a producer. So what does listening like a producer mean in practice for you?
It means hearing beyond the song. It means thinking about the space and like texture and energy and like as an artist, you want to focus on what you're singing. And then on the producer side, we got to finish the song. What does the song need? And I think that's important for a songwriter as well. Like there's no ego in that space. It's what is best for the record, what makes the record feel best. Um, and yeah, like it has to have space. Sometimes producers can put too much in the beat too early, and I'll be like, take all of that out. I need to just write to just drums and bass, and then we'll reproduce around it. I love the post-production process because it allows for it to become a marriage, you know?
How you decide what not to include so that the vocals and the messaging kind of stays front and center?
Mm. I believe in throwing everything at the wall sometimes, I believe in like sometimes throwing everything at the wall, but if something doesn't serve the story or the groove, then it's gone. I love layers. But I also love clarity. So if I think of the vocal like the main character, everything else should support it, not compete with it, you know? But sometimes the main character is the bass line and I need to flow with that bad boy. Sometimes, so sometimes it's the sample that was used with the vocal chop that's in it that either I did or it's in the production that kind of becomes a part of the main character that needs to be complemented. So it's like leaving space for this story to not feel cluttered and cloudy so that way the message comes through the way that it needs to.
So what's your process for like picking the key message, the key tempo, the match the song feeling of the song? What's your process?
It's a feeling because it just depends on what I'm doing. I'm always chasing a feeling. I'm not. I'll have an idea, but I'm chasing a feeling about that idea when I go to do it. So it's like if something comes on or I'm looking for those goosebumps. I'm looking for this. I can't, it's so hard to explain because when you felt it a few times when you've done records and you feel this thing every time you hear it. You feel this thing every time you hear another record that you like and for me, it's like the whole left side of my body or my chest gets hot when I'm coming up with it. So I'm chasing that. And I'm also chasing, um, the story being conversational enough so that way people can sing along with it. That's something I had to learn because I do spoken word. I'm a poet first, and a lot of people don't know it. So that has been an experience in itself, you know? Yeah. When it comes to tempo, it's like slowing it up, speeding it down, slowing it down, speeding it up, seeing what feels good, singing it to it or rapping to it, or whatever I'm doing to it and see how it feels. Sometimes it's like tapping my foot and I'm like, this needs to slow down because I need my body to do this. It's feeling it in my body. I'm Jamaican. And I always say, especially when it's a record that's making me dance, if my hips don't start moving on their own, that na make it, which means that's not working. We got to figure something out. Something needs to come out, be put in. I'm always chasing a feeling, you know?
Yeah, I think that's dope that art transfers and translates across the board. How you mentioned you do poetry, but obviously it translates into music. And so I always thought that that was amazing. I'm not a creative, so I always thought that that's an amazing talent and gift that creatives have. I do have a question. You mentioned earlier that you love co-writes. How do you split
Mhm.
roles and keep the momentum in your co-write sessions?
Oh man, I think it's going with like the vibe. I let energy lead. I'm not. Sometimes somebody might have a better idea than you do. Sometimes you have a greater idea. I think understanding how to give constructive criticism is a big thing. I'm like, oh, I was staying in something earlier. Understanding how to give constructive criticism is a big thing. I was a teacher for 10 years before I moved to LA, and I taught from ages 5 to 20, like two. And it was musical theater and vocal, right? And that comprised of making songs, like teaching people how to engineer themselves in the studio, um, uh, having them put their own stories into art, creating plays, and you have to be able to quality control when it comes to certain things. So it's understanding the characters in the space. A lot of making music and co-writing is people management. But if you're open enough to ideas, then you'll learn something you'll never learned. We're both hearing a beat and hearing something different, or we're hearing a beat and we're both feeling something similar and we just feed off of each other. I think it's really like, letting energy lead. Sometimes the producer has an idea that you're like, oh yeah, what's that? I like that. I'm gonna go run with that. Sometimes the songs are usually in a conversation, which is always the best. Some days I'm the lyric girls, other days I'm more of the melody or arranger girl. I think it's really about trust. And if someone's in flow, like don't interrupt it. Like if you need to go over there and figure that out, and I need to be over here like mumbling into my voice memo, and then we come together or we just start throwing stuff out. And sometimes it'll be like, nah, yeah, nah, oh, absolutely. And everybody, it's an energy in the room. It comes back to it. So and you just add what's missing once you've landed the idea. You start to add the sprinkles on it. But yeah,
So what's your approach when the room disagrees on the direction?
I remind everyone that we're here to make a good record, that it's not personal. It's about the song. I think that we'll try both directions sometimes and see what feels better after playback. The song always tells the truth. Like, and it's the people are going to move based on what's happening, especially if we're all in the room. It's like, if you're being honest in it, even if my idea is not the idea, like it's like, you know what, that is better. Let's do that because we want to make the best song. I remind people there's no ego in this space, because I write alone and most of the people that I work with are also incredible. So we're not competing for who's dope. We're all fire. That's it. And now it's about what we can create together. It's not about what we already created. What are we going to leave out of here with today that we're proud of and we're happy about and we feel good about. And that's what that is. So it's like, hey, let's leave our egos out of it. Sometimes it's what's the point? What's closest to the brief? What breaks the idea of the brief and feels a little bit better than what we were giving? Sometimes it's like, what are we feeling today? Like what do we need? What does this need? What does this song need? What does the group we're writing for need? I was writing for a boy group, for a K-pop boy group 2 days ago, and it was such an easy room because we were all locked in on what they need. They're 14 to 18 in the group. And what do they need? What is the vision for them? Okay. Now what will we like to see on a group like that? What do we feel in a group like that? And we did have a space where we disagreed on the ending of the hook, if it ended on the seventh bar and the chord changes or the eighth bar. We disagreed on that. And this was 2 days ago. And we had to go back and forth with writer versus producer. So two writers, two producers. And it was like, hey, I understand what you're doing creatively, but they need the payoff at least on the first hook. Otherwise, we're disrupting the flow of the listener. It's like, no, no, it could work, it could work. And I'm like, yeah, let's try it in the second verse. You get what I mean? But we fought for it to be a certain way in the first verse to make sure that we get the placement and land the song. So it
Right.
just depends.
The common goal.
Yeah, like we all trying to get it. Let's get it. you
The
know?
common goal. So speaking of getting it and speaking of people that you've collaborated and worked with, I heard you do your intro, but I don't think that you really hit them with any of your accolades and any of the like collaborators and like the quality people that I know and that you've helped work with and build with, who are your peers and your friends and collaborators. Because I always talk to students about like collaborate across the board. You guys are all songwriters and creators and like work together. So if you can, those who that you can share, can you share some of the people that you've worked with, some of the artists that you've written for, just some of your accolades, a little bit more, hit us with a little bit more than I know you introed, but it was so humble. Just let us know a little bit more about what you've done, just to inspire them so that they know, just like I said, when you work across the board with your peers, how much higher you can go than when you aspire to try to like work up.
Yeah. Well, Dr. Dre I am Dr. Dre has a production group called the ICU, and I'm the only woman in the ICU. So that is a person that everybody knows and is a really good friend of mine and a big brother to me. And we've been working together for 7 years. And we still work together. I've worked with Snoop. I've worked with Anderson Paak. That is the his project Ventura was the one that I got my first Grammy for being a part of that project. Nas is another one. Eminem. Q-Tip. I feel like I'm missing so many people. Oh my gosh. Every time this happens, I feel like I need to like write a list down because there are so many people across the board. And some records that are not out yet. My friend Sonia Elise, BJ the Chicago Kid. We've like some things that are out, some things that are not. I'm trying to think. I feel like there's so much more. Please forgive me, y'all. My brain is going blank, in this moment. K-pop groups, NCT 127, and about six more that are coming out at the top of the year. So I'll be able to mention that. Then Kanye West. Um, sheesh.
Dope. Well,
Jelly
yes,
Roll,
yes.
Staying, yeah, Janae Aiko, yeah, just quite a few people. It's been a beautiful journey so far. Yeah, and I'm grateful.
Okay, so thank you so much for sharing that. I think it's always important for them to see one, they've heard a little bit about your journey and how far you've come, but just to hear about the people that you've been blessed to be able to, work with and the contributions to music and the culture that you've been able to
Yeah,
be a part of. And that's so important, right? That they know that these are people who are your mentors and people to look forward to
yeah,
being like and being with, but listening to, like I said, some of the tips like collaborating across the board and sharing each other's talents and gifts with each other because you guys are the next up and coming leaders in this industry. So
yeah, yeah, for sure. And thank you. Yes, I didn't mention Davion, who's like a good friend of mine, and I think a brilliant songwriter. And we have a record called On the Way that I really love, and I'm just really excited to see him expand and shine. Iman Europe, like when I think about like on in the different tiers and the different levels,
mhm.
there's so many, and especially so many artists and songwriters in LA. I'm always working with different people and enjoying that space. Pocket Queen and like it's so many people, yeah, so it's very, very exciting.
That's amazing. Thank you so much for sharing that. So we'll keep on rocking, but I will remind you guys to drop some questions in the chat or be prepared to raise your hand in shortly and ask Coco some questions if you guys may have some. So I'll ask a few more questions.
Mhm.
What's one exercise to strengthen melody writing and one to sharpen lyric writing?
Oh, okay. I'm sorry, I got excited because this is really fun for me. One thing to strengthen melody writing is freestyling. Like literally put a beat on and freestyle. And I'm not talking about trying to freestyle words. Like if I play you something with mumbles, you're gonna crack up. But is it okay if let me see if I should try to share this. Well, I'll just tell you because this might take up more time. But there are records where the beat will come on and I will literally just it's been a long ass week. Don't think but then dee da dee da don't distressing me for no reason. I did this record recently with a producer named Phonics, and it was like 3 o'clock in the morning. And I was on my way from an event and saw somebody outside the studio. Yo, Phonics is in here. Pulled up in the studio. He put on a beat and was like, "Yo, Coco, what you hear?" I was like, "Just throw the mic on right quick." Did it, freestyled it. Came, most of the words were in there. Came back the next day, wrote in the rest of the lyrics, and there went the song, right? But before we started, there were like maybe like 5 times of like voice memos and of just me freestyling and sometimes cutting up those melodies and seeing what feels best. But the more you freestyle, the more that you do that. I think exposing yourself to other scales and other types of music that you don't normally listen to. Like right now, I'm obsessed with like East Indian music, and I'm like listening to it over and over and over again because I think it's going to start to influence some of my melody choices, listening to different genres and things like that when you're trying to play with that. With lyrics now, this is fun because sometimes you can challenge yourself to use literary devices, like literally pick a literary device and be like, I'm just going to play with this for right now. I'm going to choose onomatopoeia and make sure I'm putting onomatopoeia into the song. I'm going to make sure I'm using uh, uh, what is the other one? That I've been really, really focusing on right now. I'm going blank, but the one where you give an object that is not a living thing characteristics, right? So Nas did it with I gave you power. And I used to use that for my students to show them how he used the gun to explain what was happening and how the gun would feel in the hands of someone that was using it or misusing it in a certain type of way and things like that. So when someone says my heart feels such and such and such, you're really using that literary device. And there's so many others, but those are fun. You can like pick two or three out of a hat and be like, yo, I'm doing this today. But it can be really, really fun when you play with those things or decide I'm not using the word baby in any song I'm writing for the rest of the week. I'm not cursing in any record I'm writing for the rest of the week. Something like that can like inspire you to do certain things or have somebody pick out two or three words and be like, yo, I'm gonna try to make a song out of that. I've done that on stage, like freestyling. But it's fun because it's a brain like exercise sometimes. So yeah. Oh, one other thing, going deep into the feeling of something. Like if I'm like, if I say in a record, like I want to punch you in the face, and that's what I said in the record, because I would say something like that. By the time I get to the hook, what is the depth of that or the bridge? I used to think like, what is the depth of all of these feelings I had in the verse? By the bridge, it's like, oh, the reality is that I miss you and I hate I hate that I still miss you. So I did this whole record about the surface thing, and the deepest part of it was this, because it's not fair that I'm alone. It's not fair that I'm by myself. It's not fair that you get to live a life and I'm still dealing with this, whatever the case is. So there's an opportunity to play with it, stay surface, different things, but those things are really, really fun. So yeah.
That's dope. Those are really, really great tips. Those are really good ones. So thank you so much for sharing. I mean, you kind of touched a little bit on this a little bit, but if you can just dive just quickly, just a little bit deeper, how can students figure out what they like and turn it into their signature?
Oh. Hmm. How do you figure out what you like and turn it into your signature? I mean, I guess one thing is making a playlist of like what moves you to like notice your reactions when you hear certain things, if you're doing it based on what you're hearing or like what makes you replay something and what gives you chills. Like, why did I listen to this song on the album 6 times and never move to the next one? Why did I skip those other ones? Like figuring out your why can really help with that. And then you can try to recreate that feeling, because that's what I said earlier, is that you're chasing, but not the sound. So it's like, I don't know, like I'll raise it a bit and find that sweet spot, but it makes me something that I feel physically. I feel like for me, it was just doing as much music as possible. And then people started telling me, you always do this kind of thing at the end of like your little riffs or runs or whatever. And I'm like, I did not know that. Or, you got this, my best friend will be like, you got this like whiny, like not a growly thing that when he was like mimicking my voice. And I was just like, I didn't even know that. That's just my voice doing what it does, or how I emote when I'm singing, and that's showing up in multiple things. Um, I think that over the last few years, incorporating the fact that I am Jamaican and I do speak patois into my music more often, that has been intentional, but only after I did a full reggae project. Because I wanted to make sure I trusted it. And I don't have a blueprint for people that are rapping, singing, and Jamaican, all like mixing all of this in together with influences from jazz and R&B and hip hop. And I don't have a blueprint for it. So for me, myself, um, I naturally do it in a certain way, but I still want it to make sense. So it's been a lot of playing with that and breaking and building. I think I did it really well on a recent record I just did with Iman Europe called Magic that came out like last month. I remember being in the studio and making a joke. I was like, there are three people living in my head, and one of them wants to sing her heart out. One of them is a Wild West Indian, and the other one wants to rap her face off. But they're all. I gotta make them all make sense together right now because I need to tell this story a certain way. And I figured it out, but it was like putting a puzzle together with three different approaches happening in my head at once, you know? But naturally, someone's like, oh, well, this is your signature. I'm like, well, I guess so, you know? Like, I guess it depends because you'll hear another record and be like, she funky today, she jazzy today, she R&B today, she's rapping her face off on Pat Down today. But it just depends, you know? So I think for me, my honesty in my uh writing and the rawness of my voice, I think are two things that are distinct to me, you know. And yeah, and I don't mind exploring it and pushing it even more, but me understanding and knowing that just came with me making the damn music, you know. And sometimes you, like I said, you can be intentional about it by like creating a playlist, figuring out what you like, saying, I want some pieces of that, I want some pieces of that, and trying to emulate a feeling without copying the sound or the vibe, you know?
Mhm.
So that can happen too. Yeah. I like
That's
fusing things, so that gets a little tricky. I can go into the deep end and get real weird and I like it.
that's dope. That's
Yeah.
dope. I would ask more about the signature, but I'm gonna go into the chat to focus in on some of the students' questions. Nia, do you mind? Is this a question? Or do you just are you making a comment?
I
Oh, I
just
just ha oh, I'm sorry.
Hey
no.
Nia.
Hi. Oh, that was just a comment on when she was talking about freestyling. That's how I start all my songs is with the freestyle, but I have
Yeah,
to like remember to first record the voice memo or else I'll instantly forget everything I just did.
immediately.
Yeah.
Yeah. I will forget too. My memory is and this is cool. I don't mind talking about it here because I guess I'll start sharing it more as I understand it more. But I was diagnosed with combined ADHD earlier this year by three different doctors because I didn't want to listen to the first one. What you trying to say? You know, black folk, as soon as you get something, it's like, what do you mean? And what are you trying to say? It was a whole thing, girl, child. I went through hell. But it gave me a lot of understanding about things. And one of those things is my memory. I have to write everything down. If it's not in the calendar, it did not happen. Please send me a reminder. I do not mind. Run it up, you know? But with music and art, music doesn't come from us, it flows through us. Like understanding that it is something that exists in my opinion, in the universe and in the ethers that God, like whatever you believe in, like get gave to you, right? And it already exists, and you are tapping into something when you're pulling from it, you know? So creating the space to be able to tap in and allowing yourself to be free enough to make mistakes, like not to be perfect while you're creating. That's so important because sometimes people put so much pressure on themselves to be perfect right now, not understanding post production, not understanding, yo, you got to get the idea out before you start beating it up. You can bury your baby before it's born if you don't allow yourself to like just get it out, you know? So that's one thing. I saw somebody, I hope I'm, responding back to what you're saying. Alex, you asked a really good question in the chat. Am I moving on to this question?
Yes, whenever
Right?
you're ready. Do you want to let's read it. Do
Ooh.
you
Yeah, go
To
ahead.
what extent detach yourself from songs written with the purpose of going to other artists?
Child, this used to be hard for me. I'll be very honest. I remember one of the first records that I'd written for other artists. I was 18 years old, and one of them was a record called I'm Losing It, produced by the Buchanans. And it was supposed to be this amazing opportunity because I didn't learn until I was 18 that other people didn't write their own songs. I went into my first label meeting, and that's when I found out when they asked me to write for other people. I didn't know people didn't write their own songs. And this record I did called I'm Losing It was in the running to go to Beyonce. She had cut it. But it ended up not being on the album. Fresh 18. This is one of my favorite songs. This is the type of music I want to make. I'm working with these producers that actually know how to give me the sound that I want. And I'm so excited. And I make this song and like I'm living with the record for a second. And then all of a sudden they're like, yo, such and such is about to cut it. I ended up working with K Michelle. She ended up cutting it. So she was one of the first artists that I worked with and vocal produced in the studio at like 18. That was the whole story, child. But I just remember I had written that song from a genuine, heartfelt place, and I was hurt that it was being given away. I didn't understand how you make music, money from songwriting at the time, or anything. All I know is that was my story, and I was hurt about it. You know what I've learned over time? I've made so many more songs. I've made so much good music, so much heartfelt music since then, you know. And so I know that I can make it again. I also know I have certain things that are so personal to me that those ideas are written in my notes. My notes are the holy grail. If my whole phone gets erased and every video, picture, and phone number gets erased, I could deal with it. I don't want my voice memos or my notes to go. That's we got. I got smoke for everybody. I'm on somebody's head, you know. I need that back. Apple run up, you know. And so I think now it's more exciting to explore things that I wouldn't talk about for me. Like when I started, and I'm gonna call it the ratchet rap because I'm my righteous and my ratchet are balanced. I call it like it's a balance in there, you know. And some days I am like, no, we are the world. And some days I'm like, I'm throwing some mass tonight because that's the way I feel. And I'm both. It depends on the Tuesday. Who knows? But when I go into spaces to create specifically for other people, I've already decided that my job is to come in and make the best record for someone else. You know? So and if I write something that's for myself, and I wrote it for me, that's already been discussed. We had a conversation about that with whoever I'm working with. This is a Coco record. So I have the decision to say if I want to give this away or not. I actually have a couple of records. It's funny because I just pulled out the whiteboard because I have so much music and I'm starting to get ready for what's going on the album. I got the name of the project, but I got like 4 EPs lined up. And I'm like, you know what? Some of these songs could probably get sold, go into places. I'm just gonna write them all down and start separating them and putting them in folders for what I want and for how I see them going. It's a journey and it's a process and it's having those conversations, especially if you're not producing the song with the person who's producing it. Cause you could turn around and say, oh, it's mine. Sometimes the producer might be like, yeah, nah, Rihanna wanted it. I'm giving it to Rihanna. I learned that if Rihanna want one of my records, I'm giving it to her too. Go ahead and take it, sis. I'll make six more because whatever I'm gonna get from you singing a song is gonna be bigger than what I get from myself at the moment, you know? So it just kind of depends, you know. The detachment was difficult for me when I first started, especially for that, because it broke my heart. But it taught me so much more. So yeah.
Yes, be smart, be smart. Gotta
Yeah.
make good choices.
Yep.
Thank you
We
so
have,
much.
yeah,
problem.
that was a really good one. Thank you, Alex, for that question.
What were you saying, Alex? It sounds like Alex was saying something else.
Oh, I'll get to it after the other questions. I'm so sorry.
Okay, no
Thank you.
problem.
Ernesto, do you want to ask your question?
Yeah, sure. I was just kind of like interested in how do you know when to it's like when you want to tell something so personal, but to the point where you're just kind of like, I don't really want to overshare, but kind of having that like fine line of being like, hey, okay, I want to talk about this so much. And I'm like, oh, like I hate this person or whatever. I want to talk about this so much. But sometimes it's like I can't call this person now, or like I can't, you know?
I want you to elaborate a little bit more on that.
Well, it's just like, okay, for example, it's like, let's say you were talking to somebody and you want to like talk about that experience or, but you kind of like, for example, like let's say you still talk to them or you're still in touch with them, but you don't want to overshare too much to the point where you're kind of like, I'm not trying to say it's you, but it's kind of you, you know? I don't,
I I don't know if this is advice, but I will tell you what I do because I can't say this is advice. I can't say you should do what I do.
yeah, yeah, yeah.
If you are dating me, especially if you're dating me, you need to understand that there's a possibility that you will end up in a song. Please Please act accordingly. I will I won't put your name in it because I ain't trying to get sued, you know. I ain't doing none of that. But I'm going to talk about what happened because my job as an artist is to speak about experiences. I think as creatives we are meant to comfort the disturbed and disturb the comfortable. And sometimes it's bigger than me. Sometimes it might be a song that I write and I don't put out. You know, sometimes that was for me. I have a record called Bigger Person. And I remember being uh man, this is one of those songs where I was really pissed off. And anybody that knows me, they knows me. Like, she from Brooklyn, she'll say what she need to say. I'm good at boundaries with people that are not people that I are close to my heart, you know, and that I love so much. But I've always had issues with boundaries with people that are very close to me. And I feel like sometimes people have weaponized my empathy, right? But when I'm pissed off, like and I love you, it took a lot for me to get to a space where I'm like, right? So what happens is Bigger Person was a song about me not being the bigger person. Like, I'm literally saying fuck being the bigger person, the whole hook. I should be politically correct and just not answer your calls. You know, but I'm only 60 inches high. How am I supposed to be the bigger person? I'm 5 feet tall. You 6'2". You pissing me off here. You know, like, and what happens is the person that I wrote it about hits me one day and says, "Yo, this record is crazy." And I'm like, "Yeah, it's about you. You did it. You the reason why I wrote the song because I wanted to pull up to your crib when I saw what was happening." But instead of me doing that and going to jail, I stayed in the house and wrote a song. So you better thank your lucky stars, you know, because it would have been a bad
Mm.
night for everybody, you
Yeah,
know.
yeah, yeah. Okay,
And it was
okay, okay.
something where somebody had told me like, "Oh, I'm about to go to sleep," and then one of my friends hit me, was like, and somebody's close friends, like, such and such is at such and such's house right now. Like, so when I
It's
say
like,
hot, I was hot.
yeah,
And I'm
okay,
like,
okay.
I should be politically correct and just not answer your calls. I should be critical, direct, and not be petty at all. But I'm only 60 inches high. You know, like, so
Mhm.
fuck being the bigger person. I ain't the bigger
Yeah,
person. Like that, it
okay.
pissed me off. And whenever I perform the record, it's performed like a rock kind of record because I have a band. But I tell people as soon as it starts, everybody, middle fingers in the air. For the next
Yeah, yeah,
5 minutes, we are vibrating as low as possible, but only for 5 minutes. And I tell them the story of what happened. And because there is space for that energy, it doesn't, instead of me going to prison, what I did was I put it into a song. And now when I perform it, it gives other people permission to say, fuck that job, fuck them people,
Mm.
fuck that guy, fuck that girl, fuck whatever's trying to hold me back in life, fuck the old me that pissy, you get what I mean? Fuck the way
Yeah,
I
yeah,
felt before, whatever it is. And you get to do that and put your middle fingers in the air and scream, I ain't the bigger person. You get what I mean? For five
yeah, yeah.
minutes. And guess what? After that, I'll make a joke. I'll be like, all right, y'all, we got it out. Do we all got it out? Do we need to yell for 10 more seconds? Okay, cool. Now we're gonna vibrate high again because we not all trying to go out here and go to prison. I ain't got no bail money for y'all. And they all laugh. But what I learned is that I didn't want to put that record out.
Mm.
I didn't. I felt like I'm gonna be giving the wrong message, and I'm like, yo, that's honest. That was my honest truth. And then
Mm.
might be another artist that's like, that's not my brand, that's not my image. And for me, I was just like, that's how I feel. I'm gonna tuck that right in there. It's me.
Mm.
And then people loved it, and I was like, well, damn. Now I gotta perform it,
Yeah.
and it became something else. So I think don't limit your writing and yourself and your honesty and your art because that belongs to you. I'm not going to tell you to say anyone's name because you can get in trouble for that legally.
Yeah,
But I
exactly.
will say, write about all your feelings, whether you put it out or not, you know, whether you give it to them or not, whether they agree or not, that's fine. You know, some people may not take that well, and that's okay. But I'm writing it. You're not stopping me from writing whatever. If
Yeah,
you
yeah,
got
yeah.
me,
And
you,
that's how it should be.
yeah, no, like, why? No,
Yeah.
you might get some of
Thank
the
you.
best songs or the best you might get three lines that turn into an album or like you know whatever it is, you never know, but don't limit those things and get it out because
Yeah, you're
your
right.
spirit deserves that, and there's a reason why it was given to you,
100%.
you know.
Yeah,
Yeah,
yeah. Thank you.
Those make the best songs also, right? That makes the
right.
best music. So for the sake of creative expression, go crazy.
Yep.
Okay, next question, Germano, you want to ask your question, please, Coco?
Hi. Um,
Hey.
so my question is, I've only written songs by myself, the 6 songs that I released as an artist, I written alone, and I want to change that, and I want to start co-writing. And um, so basically, when I'm writing, if I don't like the beat that I'm, writing to, or the chords or whatever, I'll just skip it. But if you're in a session and everybody else is vibing to the song, to the beat, and they're, everything's flowing, but you're not in the same, you basically are not feeling it. Do you still push yourself to contribute some way, or do you kind of take a step back and let them do their thing because you're not feeling it?
Who's the song for?
Sorry, didn't hear that.
Who's the song for? Is the song for you or is the song for someone
I
else?
guess in this case would not be for me,
Yeah.
someone
So,
else.
so in that case, right, I would either try to suggest that we try to change some of the chords if the producer is there and see like, hey, is there a way that we could, especially because sometimes you could have a suggestion for an idea, but you don't have a way to make it happen. So I try to, it just depends. I've been in spaces where I'm like, I feel like we could go deeper. I feel like we need a chord change here, maybe. What do you think? Do you think we need a chord change? Sometimes introducing the idea, like, what do you think about this? Or what do you think about that? And someone's like, nah, it's perfect the way it is. It's fine the way it is. Watch this. Sometimes somebody's thinking of post-production and somebody's thinking, I have the perfect melody to it as is. And sometimes someone's thinking, like, let's see, producer, can you give us a chord change? Sometimes the producer is not able to because they don't know how to do it. you
Mm-hmm.
know and in that case, if it's like the for the greater good of the room, it's like, all right, well, let's see what we can do, and if I have another way, like, hey, I sat down with this and I'm like, I wrote this and I thought that maybe if it went here this would sound good, and I give it to the room and offer it as an option, and if they hear it and be like, nah, that's hard, you're like, okay, cool, let's see how we implement it. Or they might be like, nah, I think I like what we got, and you're like, all right, cool, bet. It's not my song. This piece of art doesn't belong to me, but I can contribute in the best way I can. So I'm not going to sit in the room sour, like they didn't take my idea. My idea is way better than everybody else's. They might know the artist and you don't. They might know
Yeah.
that the artist don't like these chord changes. They might know that the artist can't sing it the way that you about to sing it. They might know that the artist doesn't like that key. Sometimes they might have insight that's different. They might know exactly what the artist is looking for because they've been a part of the other 6 songs on the artist project and they know they need a record like this because they got
Mm-hmm.
one more like that. Or they may not know. You never know. So I think it's like filling it out. But if you're in the space, if I'm there, this is my motto. I don't half-ass anything. I use both cheeks. That's it. We using both cheeks. That's both of them, activated. And that means that if I'm showing up, I want to show up and give the best of myself and do the best that I can. Now, it is a collaborative room and a collaborative effort. So if it's like, all right, that's what y'all choosing, I know I can still go home and make the music. I know I'm in my studio in my house right now. I can still go home and make whatever music I want to make. You get what I mean? But right
Mm-hmm.
now we're here and we're trying to get this idea out. We want to get something good. Let me see. Okay, well, I wasn't feeling that, but I said it. I offered another option. They said no. All right, cool. Y'all need background vocals? Let me do the background vocals. Let me write the rap part.
Mm-hmm.
My brain is now thinking, what if the intro started with the hook instead of this? Yo, what if let's see how it hit, how the song sounds if we move the hook to the front. Because sometimes that might change it. So it's like being open and always remembering, take ego out of it. And if you really just do know better and you write, there'll be more rooms. You got your own music and you can write with more people. So it'll be all right.
Thank you
Thank
so much.
you for that. So we got about 10 more minutes, but we will encourage Coco to drop wherever her email or her social, wherever you guys can find her, in case you guys have more questions or you want to, keep up with what she got going on and or connect with her on some mentorship in the near future. Christian, you want to ask your question?
Yeah, hi. I was wondering, as someone who is like interested in like writing for like other artists, is it better to kind of stick within your own niche, or is it better to kind of space out your writing and kind of write within like multiple genres? Like what would be more appealing to like a label when you're trying to like write for other artists?
I don't think they care. I think this is my opinion. I think they just want a hit record and they don't care how you get it. Because labels are bloodthirsty sharks that want every ounce of creativity, new energy, new talent for as little as possible from your soul. I'm just going to give you that. So if you're doing music, it is because you absolutely love it and you cannot stop. Okay? I would not limit myself if I am interested in other genres. I have such a distinctive singing voice, speaking voice that when I was younger, I just was like, I love country music. I wonder what I sound like singing that. I wonder what I would sound like if I tried to write that. What would happen if I tried to write that my way? Some of it was good, some of it wasn't when I was doing it for myself, right? What do I sound like if I'm over this type of record? I like James Blake. What is Coco's voice and what is her sound and her story on that type of music? But that's because I'm an artist, right? So as a songwriter, I understand I need to make songs for people to consume. And I think that if the label hears me, I wrote a couple rap records, right? For a rap artist. I won't say who it was. I d- People were like, Coco's the singer. When I did the rap records, that's for real. That's her. Yo, Coco, you should rap. You should put out more rap records. It's like sometimes people don't even know what they want until you give it to them. So if you start limiting yourself, if you feel it in your heart to do more than one thing, expand. You can be like, I'm working on country this week, I'm working on pop next week, and whatever you gravitate to it. And then sometimes we're really, really good at something, so we double down. Because if you do something, it becomes a smash, then all the other labels want to follow it and they want one like that. And they tell the other writers, instead of hitting you, write like this guy. And eventually, if you're so good at it, then they just gotta come back and get you. Like, hey, I need you to come back and can you write one of these for Madonna? Can you write one of these for such and such? You know, so what I'm saying is just make the best songs you can make. And if you are good in a certain area and it starts popping, especially as a songwriter, make 10 more of them. Why not? Because you can also still make whatever else you want, you know? So that would be my answer to that. Jack of all trades and master of none is still better. And than, master of one is still better than a master of none. That's the end of that phrase, you know? So yeah, but do perfect whatever you're doing and try to be as great at it as possible. And if you expand, you know? That's what I did.
Thank you so much.
No
Yeah.
problem.
Thanks
I'm
for
gonna
the
try to go quick
question.
because I know we only got 5 minutes. I'm sorry, I'll be long with it.
Emily, let's hear from you.
Hi guys. My question was, I guess, what do you feel like makes a collaborator or a co-writer valuable to you, especially like situationally? Is there ever something that makes you be like, oh, I have to ask them back, or I have to work with them again, or I need them for a different project?
When they have a good whack meter. When we both can look at each other and be like, nah, whether it's our idea that we say personally or their idea, and we're able to go back and forth when they understand how to influence a room if need be and how to fall back if need be, when they understand how to support, whatever it is needed and how and when to I did like the K-pop session that I did the other day. I'm not the one cutting the vocal. I don't want to cut the vocal. I've been singing all week. I'm fine with you singing the record. I went in and did the backgrounds. But that writer, her name is Paris Alexa. She is brilliant. She wrote Supernova, if that big K-pop record, right? With a co-collaborator, a friend of mine named Dem Joints. And she's such a smart writer. When we're writing songs, you'll go to be like, the equilibrium of the United States of America. And it's like, I need that writer to understand that that doesn't make sense here. And if they already get that we need to simplify it, make it easier to say, some things speak well but don't sing well. And so they've had time to develop that. That's a lot of fun because now I don't have to put all the work on myself, which I don't mind. I've been writing by myself forever, but when I do collaborate, those are some of the things that make me want to bring a person back. People that are easy to work with, and it's fun. We don't have to be best friends, but in this session, we have a common goal. Yeah,
Amazing, thank you.
no problem. Oh, and have a good attitude too. Like if they're all of that, don't nobody want to be around that. It don't matter how good they are. We're not bringing them back.
So we don't have any other questions in the chat, but I have one last question. What should students bring to a session to be prepared and professional?
Bring your ideas. Bring your ideas. Bring your references and your openness. Have your voice notes ready for yourself. Don't just be sharing with everybody. You can, have in your headphones a good attitude, like we was just talking about, and be on time. Be on time. Nobody forgets good energy in a room. That's half the job. Being a likable person can get a less talented person way more opportunities than just being a dick. Like, you don't have to be. And sometimes you're going to be in the room with someone who is just an asshole. You being able to have an even kill personality about things, understanding like, yo, I'm only here for 6 hours or 7 hours. My intention is to make the best record I can. I ain't even stressing none of that because I'm gonna be up out of here in 6 hours. I'm going to the movies with my real friends. I'm not worried about it. I just want us to be good enough to get through this. And sometimes y'all just really vibe and you're like, I love it here. This was so much fun. Let's do it again. So, make sure that that's what you're bringing. Bring an open mind, good attitude, bring your ideas, your references. Like, y'all was listening to this yesterday. Feel free to pull it up. What if we did something like whatever you have. That would be my
And
advice.
even if you don't love the players, still bring the good energy and the excellence and the good vibes, right? Even if
Yeah.
you don't love, because you're not gonna love everyone that you work with and collaborate with, but you're still supposed to bring your A game because you're a reflection of yourself and your business and what you contribute, right?
Yep. And on top
Yeah.
of that, you never know who's walking in the room. Like, I have been in a session where that song was so trash. And it just wasn't worth the fight towards the end with the people in the room. And I'm like, all right, well, we're gonna get it done. I have another session in 2 hours and I gotta get through LA traffic to get to it. For myself or rehearsal, I think I had. And somebody's manager happened to walk in and they saw me and was like, yo, there was this Coco girl. She was humming in the hallway going towards the bathroom. And I need her information. And they hit me and they were like, I want her to sing the national anthem for blah, 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 blah. I need to know more about her
Mhm.
artistry. I want to put her in a room with such and such. Or she was so cool. She was so nice. She spoke to that's another thing. Speak to everybody in the room. I had to learn this. I get nervous sometimes. I know we got 1 minute. I'm down to go over if y'all need me, I'll stay. But I got nervous sometimes and I would like whoever spoke to me, I would say hi. And if they didn't speak, I wouldn't say anything because it's awkward. But something that happens every time I go to Dre's, every time we work together, first of all, it's like 19 guys. When I walk in, I say hi, give everybody a hug. What's up, y'all? Hey, what's up, Blue? What's up, such and such? What's up, Fred? What's up, Joyce? What's up, Dre? I mean, everybody. And Dre will speak to everybody who walks in. We speak to everybody. And so what I realize is when I do that in a session, I break the ice. Hey, how you doing? I'm Coco. Nice to meet you. Hey, what's your name? What's your name? I forget names. I got ADHD. I don't remember none of these people damn names, but I asked. Hopefully I'll remember by the end of the session. But it breaks the ice sometimes because, some people are also not speaking because they're nervous or shy or cocky or whatever. But I came and I said hello because I'm here to work. Speak to everybody, shake
Leave the
everybody's
Eagles
hand
at the door. Leave the Eagles at the door. Absolutely.
back
Well,
there.
you guys, Coco, can you share where they could find you, whether it's social media or wherever they could find you to connect with you in the future?
Yes.
You can drop it in the chat or let them know. That would be great.
So I'm gonna put this in the
And
chat.
you guys, can you show some love for Coco and her time and for her dropping some gems? Thank you
Thanks for
so much for
having
your
me.
time, Coco. We really appreciate you.
Thank you for having me,
Thank
guys. I
God,
really
you.
that was
enjoyed this.
wonderful. Thank you so much.
Thank you. Thank you so much. And shout out I saw Sanai was in here. Sanai Avni, she's dope, dope, amazing singer, artist, and writer. Good to see you, girl. And thank you, everybody. Thank you for your questions. So at Coco Sarai on Instagram, feel free to DM me. And that's also my email address. But make it Coco Sarai Music. If y'all really want in-depth, like, hold on because sometimes Instagram get crazy, but I will try to respond. Just be like, hit me and be like, yo, I was in the Grammy thing. And I'm be like, okay, bet, what's up? What we talking about? I send voice memos because sometimes typing is too much. So, but that's my email as well. And I'm down to answer any questions. Please hit me. I wish I had things like this when I first started. So I appreciate it and I'm so down to share whatever.
We appreciate you. Thank you so much. And you all have a good rest of the afternoon and see you next time. Oh, one last thing. We have a survey in the chat. If you guys click on it, let us know about feedback about this session. If you enjoyed this session, if you enjoyed last week's session, if you guys would like to see things like this in the future. And we're also on social media or Instagram if you're curious to learn more about Live Out Live. But it has been a pleasure to connect with you all, and I look forward to doing it again. Take care.
Thank you
Bye
guys.
bye.
you.
Bye bye.
Bye.